The content of this podcast is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended as, nor should it be considered a substitute for professional medical advice. Hello, this is Karen Nickel, family nurse practitioner, and you are listening to Itchy and Bitchy, a podcast that provides answers to your many unanswered health questions. I want to remind you about my course called The Perimenopause Answer. If you are going through the phase of life called perimenopause, or if you're not sure if you're in perimenopause, I would love to have the opportunity to talk to you about the course to see if it is the right fit for you. I have really enjoyed getting to know many of you, and I'm so grateful to you for listening to and sharing the podcast. There is a link on our website, itchyandbitchy.com, and our Facebook page, IMB Podcasts, where you can schedule an appointment for a Zoom call with me. It's not a webinar, it's a call with me. And so when you make an appointment, I will be sitting at my desk waiting for you to join the one-on-one Zoom call. Misinformation, medical misinformation specifically, that is shared on TikTok is back in the news. A recent study looking at health claims on TikTok, specifically about sinusitis, found that 44% of videos related to sinusitis contained non-factual information. Also, about half of the videos were produced by non-medical influencers. Those are those who are content creators with more than 10,000 followers who do not identify themselves as medical professionals. The researchers found that the videos promoted genuinely dangerous so-called treatments. And if they are not downright dangerous, the recommendations on the videos cause confusion or lead people to delay effective care by using these alternative therapies. One example of a recent trend is one that urged people to treat nasal congestion by sticking whole garlic cloves up their noses. Yep, you heard me right. The claim is that when you blow your nose after inserting garlic cloves up your nose, there will be more mucus expelled. The truth is, more mucus is expelled because the irritation caused by the garlic produces more mucus. Not only does this technique not help with nasal congestion, it carries the risk of damaging the person's nasal tissue or clogging the nasal passage when you shove a whole garlic clove up your nostrils. So just don't do this. The researchers involved with this study found that the medical professionals on TikTok produced high-quality educational content that contained solid facts, and they compared the harms and benefits of different treatments. Unfortunately, because non-medical influencers create so much more content than medical professionals, they have much more visibility than those medical professionals. And overall, medical professionals provide beneficial content on TikTok, but they are people. They're people, so they can say incorrect things. However, in the study, only 15% of videos from medical professionals contained non-factual information, but nearly 60% of videos produced by non-medical influencers had non-factual information. 60%. If more medical professionals were sharing information on social media, it would help balance the misinformation that is presented by non-medical influencers. As a medical professional myself, I admit that I am guilty of being absent from platforms like TikTok and Instagram. I keep telling myself, and my friends keep telling me, that I need to start being present on those forums, but alas, I can't seem to get that accomplished. Dang it. There are medical professionals out there actively working to debunk the pseudoscience on TikTok. One of the debunkers is Mustafa Dahir, a practicing pharmacist and a medical student who is based in Australia. Mr. Dahir is part of a growing cohort of scientists, physicians, healthcare professionals, and academics who debunk health misinformation on TikTok by stitching videos, which involves clipping existing videos into new ones and then offering one's own input. Mr. Dahir admits that the work is often draining. Unqualified influencers posting misinformation far outnumber the experts debunking it, and the debunkers are often harassed by other users for their efforts. Also, the business of debunking is time-consuming. Scripting, filming, and editing, not to mention managing comments, which sometimes also contain misinformation, can take hours each day. To attract an audience, each video must accurately convey the science, but must also be entertaining and grab the viewer's attention within 15 seconds. One debunker, Michelle Wong, a cosmetic chemist who runs a thing called Lab Muffin Beauty Science, which is a blog and social media account that explains the science behind skincare and cosmetic products. She has made a new career out of fighting misinformation. When Dr. Wong was a full-time science educator, she found herself working an extra 30 hours a week creating content for social media and her blog. She states that it was destroying her personal life and reports that her relationship with her partner had ended partly because she was spending so much time on content creation for debunking things that she saw on TikTok. Dr. Wong quit her job in 2019 to make Lab Muffin Beauty Science her full-time occupation, but she still sometimes works up to 70 hours a week as a debunker. Katrine Wallace, an epidemiologist and a professor at the University of Illinois at Chicago, started debunking inaccurate content on TikTok at the start of the pandemic when she noticed that users were debating whether COVID was even real. She has since debunked videos stating that COVID vaccines cause death within 6 months and that microscopic worms or parasites are found in surgical face masks. She debunked both of those. Since that topic recirculates about every 6 months, she is repeatedly working to debunk that information over and over and over again. Dr. Wallace said the most exhausting part of debunking on TikTok is the harassment. Commenters repeatedly insult her, and when she posts in favor of a vaccination, they accuse her of being paid off by Big Pharma. She also received threatening and sexually violent messages through her university email account, a situation that required the university police to become involved. Besides shoving garlic cloves up your nose, ahead are some other crazy claims on TikTok. Also, what is TikTok doing to protect you, and how do you protect yourself? That is up next, so stay with me. We're back. Here are some other claims made by other non-medical influencers on TikTok. One is drinking potato juice instead of using antibiotics for strep throat. One TikTok blogger claimed that she had cured her 14-year-old daughter's, quote, super bad strep by giving her daughter a juiced potato to drink, and claimed the infection was, quote, completely gone within 2 hours. The video reached hundreds of thousands of views before it was deleted. Not taking antibiotics allows the bacteria to spread to other parts of the body and can cause a range of complications, including acute rheumatic fever and scarlet fever. The bug can be fatal for children and older adults if left untreated. Definitely do not follow this advice. Another one is to douse yourself in beer to achieve a better tan. The influencers claim that hops in beer will stimulate the production of melatonin, which leads to a tan. However, there is no evidence to support this. This TikTok hack is incredibly dangerous and can increase your risk of sunburn, heat exhaustion, and skin cancer. There is no such thing as a safe tan. Not only should you avoid this recommendation, but you should be using sunscreen to prevent a tan or sunburn. Scooping dry protein powder directly into your mouth as a pre-workout routine is another recommendation made on TikTok. Not only is there no benefit to taking powder without fluid, but you're actually putting your health at risk by trying this trend. When you use this method, you risk breathing in the powder as you are putting it into your mouth, which can lead to dangerous respiratory problems like pneumonia, as well as choking or a lot of uncomfortable coughing. TikTok has enacted policies to flag content with misinformation, including adding informational banners to COVID-19 vaccine content. But one study of more than 6,000 videos related to the vaccines found that 58% of those lacked banners. These are warning banners. When it comes to combating health misinformation in general, all social media platforms face a daunting task given the sheer volume of inaccurate posts. So how does TikTok determine if videos contain misinformation? Well, on their website, they state that they detect potential harmful misinformation and confirm that it is indeed misinformation. So they have people who look for misinformation on posts, and then they try to confirm that it's misinformation. While the content is being fact-checked, they may make it ineligible for the For You feed out of an abundance of caution. Once the fact-checkers have assessed the content and it is determined to be accurate, it stays on the platform. If content is confirmed as harmful misinformation that violates their community guidelines, their moderators apply TikTok policies and either remove the video or restrict its reach. If content can't be verified after fact-checking, it may be labeled as unverified and made ineligible for the For You feeds to reduce its reach. TikTok does have a web page that contains videos related to medical misinformation, medical misconduct, and disinformation that can happen on TikTok. To get to this link, you just need to Google the word TikTok and the words medical misinformation, and lo and behold, you will find the link. How can you protect yourself from false health claims? Well, first of all, trust that meter inside of you that says, that just doesn't sound right. If a wild health claim sounds too good to be true, it probably is. It's also a red flag when the person making the claim is relying on language or visuals that elicit super intense emotional reactions like fear and outrage. That's how influencers capture their audience and increase their numbers. If it's making you mad, it's probably not a correct claim. It's also a concerning sign if the person sharing the information is trying to sell you something by making a health claim. So you should be especially careful and check the accuracy of what they're saying. You can check specific assertions on one of the many fact-checking websites like factcheck.org and on the sites of medical institutions like Cleveland Clinic or Mayo Clinic. Both sites are very, very helpful. You can also just ask your own healthcare provider. Hey, there's a concept. Thank you for listening and for sharing the podcast with others. My listeners now know not to shove garlic cloves up their nose. Very helpful. Wherever you listen to this podcast, please leave a review and rate the podcast. Your reviews and ratings really do matter. I encourage you to visit our Facebook page, IMB Podcasts, where you can leave comments or questions for me. Our website is itchyandbitchy.com, where there are blogs with some of our subjects available for you to read. On the Facebook page and the website, we have the information about how to schedule an appointment with me, not a webinar, so we can chat about how my perimenopause course can help you if you're going through this phase in life. As always, thanks to Forrest Wenzel, our producer and composer of our theme music, and the person who does all the behind the scenes work to make this podcast possible. Thank you, Forrest. As I mentioned in the last episode, next week, Forrest will be moving to Baltimore to attend the prestigious Peabody Music Conservatory, where he will begin his studies to receive a master's degree in music composition. I'm so excited for him and proud of him, but I will miss having him here in Knoxville. He has kindly agreed to continue to produce the podcast from Baltimore, so the Itchy and Bitchy podcast journey continues. Remember that your health is in your hands.